Are you fading into the shadows, brother? Is the fire that once fueled your relentless drive now just a flicker? Do you feel the weight of the world crushing your spirit, yet nobody seems to notice? If this hits too close to home, you're not alone, and you're not weak. Welcome to the Sigma Male community, where we strip away the noise and face the raw truth of what it means to be a man of strength, independence, and unshakable resolve. Today we're diving deep into a topic that every Sigma male needs to confront: burnout. Not the fleeting stress of a bad day, but the slow, silent erosion of your core, the kind that can hollow out even the strongest among us. In this video we're uncovering the 11 signs that a Sigma male is burning out, because recognizing them is the first step to reclaiming your edge. Stick with me and let's arm you with the clarity to rise above the haze. The Stoic philosophers taught us that true strength lies in mastering ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, our emotions. A Sigma male embodies this, carving his path with discipline and purpose. But when burnout creeps in, it doesn't just challenge your strength, it threatens to unravel everything you've built. Through vivid stories and hard-hitting truths, we'll explore how burnout manifests in the Sigma male's life, using the lens of Stoic wisdom to guide us. Each sign is a warning, a call to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. This isn't about weakness, it's about recognizing the battle within before it consumes you. Let's dive into the 11 signs that a Sigma male is burning out, and by the end you'll have the tools to reclaim your fire. 1. The silent retreat. Solitude is the Sigma male's sanctuary, a sacred space where he sharpens his mind and hones his purpose. It's where he thrives, free from the chaos of the crowd. But when burnout takes hold, this sanctuary morphs into a prison. The Sigma doesn't just retreat, he vanishes. Messages pile up unanswered. Routines that once anchored him, morning runs, late-night reading, fall apart. Even those few he trusts, the ones who've earned a place in his inner circle, are met with silence. This isn't the restorative solitude he once mastered, it's a suffocating withdrawal, a hiding from a world that feels too heavy to face. The Stoic principle of self-mastery reminds us that true freedom comes from within, not from escaping external pressures. But in burnout, the Sigma's internal compass falters. He's not recharging, he's running from himself. The gym bag sits untouched in the corner, a silent accusation. Books he once devoured remain closed, their pages gathering dust. Hobbies that spark joy now feel like chores. This isn't discipline fading, it's disintegration, a slow unraveling of the man he knows himself to be. What's worse, the world doesn't see it. To others he's just in his zone, the enigmatic Sigma doing what Sigmas do. But inside, the walls are closing in. The silence that once empowered him now suffocates. He's not choosing isolation out of strength, he's trapped in it, unable to break free. The Stoics would urge him to face this discomfort head-on, to question what he's avoiding and why. But in the grip of burnout, even that clarity feels out of reach. This silent retreat is the first red flag, a signal that the Sigma's inner fire is dimming. It's not about weakness, it's about a mind and spirit stretched too thin. Recognizing this shift is the first step to reclaiming control. The Sigma male doesn't run from battles, even the ones within. The question is, will he face this one before the silence consumes him? 2. The Productivity Mirage. A Sigma male moves through tasks like a blade, sharp, precise, unstoppable. His ability to cut through chaos with focus is his hallmark. But when burnout strikes, that blade dulls, grinding against stone. Deadlines blur into a haze. Projects stall, half-finished. Hours slip away, lost to distractions he'd once scorned. The Sigma doesn't just feel slow, he is slow, and that truth cuts deeper than any failure. This isn't laziness, it's cognitive shutdown. His mind, once a fortress of clarity, is now a battlefield littered with fog. He'll sit at his desk, staring at a screen, willing himself to work, but the words don't come. The code won't compile. The plans won't form. The harder he pushes, the more his brain resists, like an engine flooded with too much fuel. The Stoics would call this a failure to accept what's within his control, his effort, not the outcome. But in burnout, even effort feels like betrayal. The irony is brutal. The man who prided himself on efficiency is now trapped in a loop of wasted time. Tasks that once took hours now stretch into days. He'll start a project, only to abandon it when the spark doesn't ignite. The Stoic principle of rational thinking demands he step back, assess and recalibrate, but burnout clouds his judgment. He pushes harder, not smarter, and the cycle deepens. This productivity mirage is a trap, one that convinces the Sigma he's still in control when he's anything but. Recognizing this sign requires brutal honesty, a trait Sigmas value above all. He must confront the reality that his mind needs rest, not more force. Only by stepping back can he sharpen his blade again and cut through the haze. 3. The emotional ice age. Sigmas aren't emotionless. They're selective, channeling their feelings with precision and purpose. But burnout turns that control into numbness, an emotional ice age where nothing breaks through. Laughter feels forced, a hollow echo. Passion, once a roaring flame, fades to a flicker. Conversations with friends, partners, or colleagues become transactions, functional but lifeless. He's physically present, but his soul is elsewhere. When someone notices, "You've been distant," he'll shrug, not out of indifference but because explaining feels like lifting a mountain. The Stoics teach us to govern our emotions, not to be ruled by them, but in burnout, the Sigma isn't governing anything, he's frozen. The music that once stirred him falls flat. Ideas that once sparked his mind feel like burdens. Even anger, a force he once wielded with purpose, dulls into a vague ache. This detachment isn't strength, it's survival mode, a desperate attempt to conserve what little energy remains. The fire that defined him, his drive, his vision, is reduced to embers. He's not choosing indifference, he's too exhausted to feel. The Stoics would urge him to confront this numbness, to question what it protects him from. But in the Ice Age, even that introspection feels impossible. The emotional Ice Age is a silent killer, stripping the Sigma of the depth that makes him human. Recognizing this sign means facing the truth. His heart isn't gone, it's buried. Unearthing it requires courage, the kind of courage a Sigma knows well but may struggle to summon when burnout has taken hold. 4. The body's rebellion. The Sigma male trusts his mind to push through pain, but the body doesn't lie. When burnout strikes, it rebels with a vengeance. Headaches linger like unwelcome guests. Sleep, once a reset, leaves him more drained. His back tightens with tension. His stomach churns with knots he can't explain. He'll dismiss it as just stress, but this is his physiology screaming, "Enough." Stoicism teaches us to endure hardship with grace, but burnout doesn't negotiate. The Sigma's body, once a temple of resilience, begins to crack. Immunity falters. Colds linger longer than they should. Energy crashes midday, leaving him reaching for coffee or excuses. He'll blame age, a bad week, anything but the truth. His body is begging for rest, for balance, for care. This rebellion isn't failure, it's a warning. The Stoics remind us that we are not separate from our physical selves. Neglecting the body starves the mind. Yet the Sigma, in his relentless drive, may ignore these signals, pushing through until something breaks. Aches become chronic. Fatigue becomes a shadow. The body isn't betraying him, it's fighting for him. Recognizing the body's rebellion requires humility, a trait the Sigma may resist. He must listen, not dismiss. Rest isn't surrender, it's strategy. By honoring his body's signals, he can reclaim the strength that defines him. Ignoring them risks a collapse that no amount of willpower can prevent. 5. The shadow of self-doubt. Confidence is the Sigma male's armor, forged in discipline and proven in action. But burnout cracks that armor, letting self-doubt seep in. Every mistake becomes a verdict, "I'm slipping." Tasks he once crushed now loom like mountains. He replays failures on a relentless loop, each one whispering, "I used to be better than this." The Sigma doesn't fear hard work, he fears irrelevance. This isn't humility, it's sabotage. The man who once stood unshaken now questions every step. He'll decline opportunities, convinced he'll fail before he even tries. Relationships strain as he pulls away, fearing he's not enough, not for his partner, his friends, or himself. The Stoics would call this a failure of perspective, letting emotion cloud reason. But in burnout, reason is the first casualty. The cruelest part is the silence. Nobody sees the war raging inside him. To the world, he's still the Stoic Sigma, unshakable and strong. But inside, he's battling a shadow that grows with every doubt. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we control, our actions, not our fears. Yet burnout makes even that focus feel impossible. This shadow of self-doubt is a call to arms. The Sigma must confront it, not with force but with clarity. He must ask, what am I afraid of losing? By naming the fear, he can begin to dismantle it. The armor can be reforged, but only if he acknowledges the cracks. 6. The Phantom of Avoidance. The Sigma male is no stranger to responsibility. He thrives on it, tackling challenges with precision. But burnout turns duty into dread. Emails pile up unopened. Calls go unanswered. Promises he'd never break now gather dust. The man who never flaked now ghosts his own life, cleaning his apartment at 2 a.m. to avoid a report, scrolling mindlessly to dodge a tough conversation. This isn't irresponsibility, it's overwhelm. Every task feels like a cliff too steep to climb. The Stoics teach us to face what's in our control, but burnout makes everything feel uncontrollable. Guilt fuels the cycle. I should be better than this. But should doesn't fix exhaustion. The longer he avoids, the harder it is to return, each unopened email a brick in the wall between him and his purpose. The Phantom of Avoidance is deceptive, masquerading as procrastination or distraction. But it's deeper, a sign that the Sigma's reserves are depleted. He's not lazy, he's drowning. Stoicism calls for action, for breaking tasks into what can be done now. But in burnout, even small steps feel like leaps across a chasm. Recognizing this phantom means seeing it for what it is. A symptom, not a character flaw. The Sigma must start small, reclaiming one task, one moment of focus. Each step forward is a victory, a reminder that he's still in the fight. The phantom can be banished, but only if he stops running. 7. The Death of Curiosity. A Sigma male is a thinker, a builder, a man driven by what if. His curiosity fuels his growth, his creations, his legacy. But burnout murders that spark. Books sit half-read on the shelf. Ideas die before they're spoken. The questions that once lit up his mind now feel like burdens, answered with a tired, too much. This is the silent killer. Without curiosity, there's no purpose, no hunger, just existence. The Sigma doesn't just lose motivation. He loses himself. The Stoics teach that wisdom comes from questioning, from seeking truth. But in burnout, the Sigma stops seeking. The world narrows, and the man who once saw endless possibilities now sees only obstacles. The death of curiosity is a slow poison. It creeps in unnoticed, eroding the Sigma's drive to learn, to create, to grow. A half-finished project mocks him from his desk. A conversation about ideas feels like a chore. This isn't who he is, it's what burnout has made him. The Stoic remedy is to rekindle the spark, to ask one question, to explore one idea, no matter how small. Recognizing this loss is the first step to revival. The Sigma must remember the fire that drove him, the hunger that defined him. Curiosity isn't dead, it's dormant. By nurturing it, even in small doses, he can reclaim the mind that makes him a Sigma. 8. The False Highs. When the world feels gray, the Sigma male might chase color, binging shows, gaming for hours, drinking to feel something. These aren't indulgences. They're escapes, fleeting highs that promise relief but deliver deeper emptiness. The Stoics warn against chasing fleeting pleasures, yet burnout makes these crutches feel like lifelines. This isn't laziness, it's desperation. The Sigma knows these distractions don't solve anything, but they're a bandage on a wound he can't face. A night of gaming might dull the ache, but morning brings the same void. A drink might loosen the tension, but it tightens the grip of exhaustion. These false highs are symptoms, not the disease. The Stoic principle of temperance calls for balance, for finding joy in what endures, not what fades. But in burnout, the Sigma is too tired to seek meaning. He's not weak, he's human, grappling with a mind that's screaming for rest. The false highs are a signal that something deeper needs healing. Breaking this cycle requires courage, the courage to face the emptiness instead of numbing it. The Sigma must ask, what am I running from? By confronting the root, he can step away from the crutches and toward the clarity that defines him. The highs he seeks are within, waiting to be reclaimed. 9. The Resentment Build. The Sigma male is a master of composure, his emotions a calm sea. But burnout stirs a storm. Small irritations, a slow barista, a traffic jam, ignite rage he didn't know he had. It's not the world he's angry at, it's himself for feeling so broken, so unlike the man he knows he is. This fury isn't weakness, it's misdirected exhaustion. The Stoics teach us to control what we can and release what we can't, but burnout blurs that line. The Sigma doesn't do outbursts, so the anger simmers, poisoning him from within. A coworker's comment stings more than it should. A friend's joke feels like a jab. The resentment builds, a pressure cooker with no release. The danger lies in the silence. The Sigma's stoic nature hides the storm, but it's there, eroding his peace. He'll snap at a stranger or withdraw from a loved one, not because he's cruel but because he's spent. Stoicism calls for self-awareness, for recognizing when emotion clouds reason. But in burnout, that awareness is buried under frustration. Recognizing the resentment build is a call to pause. The Sigma must breathe, reflect, and redirect his energy. The world isn't his enemy, burnout is. By naming the true source of his anger, he can begin to dismantle it, reclaiming the calm that defines his strength. 10. The identity crisis. Who am I now? The Sigma male defines himself by discipline, by purpose, by the fire that drives him. But burnout turns that fire to ash. Hobbies that shaped him feel hollow. Goals that fueled him seem unreachable. Even relationships, once a source of strength, taste like failure. He feels like a fraud, a shadow of the man he was. This isn't a phase, it's erosion. The Stoics teach that our identity lies in our choices, not our circumstances. But in burnout, the Sigma's choices feel like betrayals. He looks at his life, his work, his passions, his connections, and sees only what's missing. The man who stood tall now questions his worth. The identity crisis is a battle for the soul. The Sigma risks becoming a ghost of himself, moving through life without purpose. Friends notice the change but can't name it. Partners feel the distance but can't bridge it. The Stoic remedy is to return to first principles. What do I control? What matters to me? But burnout makes those questions feel like riddles with no answers. Recognizing this crisis is the first step to rebuilding. The Sigma must remember who he is, not the burnout but the man beneath it. He's not lost, he's buried. By reclaiming one piece of himself, his discipline, his purpose, he can begin to rebuild the identity that makes him a Sigma. 11. The final stall. The Sigma male is a man of vision, always planning, always moving forward. But burnout brings him to a halt. He stops dreaming, stops planning. He just exists, a state so foreign it feels like betrayal. The man built for motion is now motionless, trapped in a life that feels like a cage. This is the breaking point. The Stoics teach that stagnation is the enemy of virtue, yet burnout makes stagnation feel inevitable. Days blur together, each one a mirror of the last. The Sigma isn't lazy, he's depleted, his reserves burn to nothing. Recovery isn't optional, it's survival. The final stall is a wake-up call, a moment where the Sigma must choose, sink or fight. Stoicism demands he face reality no matter how harsh. He must ask, what's stopping me? The answer lies not in the world but in himself. His exhaustion, his neglect, his refusal to rest. The path forward starts with one step, one moment of clarity. Recognizing this stall is the Sigma's greatest challenge, and his greatest opportunity. By acknowledging it, he can begin to move again, not with force but with purpose. The fire isn't gone, it's waiting to be reignited. The Sigma male was never built to stand still. Burnout isn't defeat, it's data, a signal from your mind and body that the path you're on isn't sustainable. The Sigma male community isn't here to coddle you, it's here to challenge you, to hold a mirror to your strength and remind you who you are. You're not the man who breaks, you're the man who rebuilds. The Stoics knew that true power lies in discernment, knowing when to push and when to pause. The world won't stop for you, brother, so you must stop for yourself. Take these signs, reflect on them, and act. Reclaim your solitude as a sanctuary, not a prison. Sharpen your mind, reignite your curiosity, and rebuild your fire. This is your call to rise. If this video hit you, smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share it with a brother who needs to hear it. If you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell. Don't miss the wisdom we're building here at the Sigma Male community. Keep forging your path, stay relentless, and we'll see you in the next one.